A beef between two titans of the New York music scene hits the sex trafficking and racketeering trial of Sean Diddy Combs. Why 50 Cent was brought up this week during emotional witness testimony. Combs and 50, they've been at odds for a long time. And now, one of them is facing the possibility of spending the rest of their life in federal prison, and the other is not, holding back or hiding the apparent joy they find in that possibility happening with a guilty.
The courtroom doors had barely closed before the chaos inside erupted, and when 50 Cent stepped forward, it wasn't just a statement, it was an explosion. The silence that preceded it shattered instantly, because when 50 speaks, there's no filter. No hesitation, just raw, unrelenting truth.
This feud apparently went far beyond words. 50 Cent's name came up during the testimony this week. Capricorn Clark. She is a former assistant of Sean Combs who went on to become the head of marketing for his Sean John clothing brand. Clark rose successfully and professionally through the ranks of Diddy's world during her time working for him, which stretched between 2004 to 2018, so she saw a lot. Clark claimed that Diddy would threaten her. She says he even kidnapped her in 2011. All of this matters as we build up to how 50 Cent kind of factors into what she said on the stand. Now, Capricorn Clark started working for Bad Boy after she worked for Death Row Records. Now, that's surprising, since Death Row was ran by perhaps Diddy's most hated enemy, Suge Knight. Clark said that one of her good friends had a baby with Suge Knight, and that's how she knew him. And in perhaps the most shocking story from her testimony, Clark claimed that shortly after she started working for Diddy, Diddy and his security guards took her to Central Park after dark. Diddy said, quote, "He told me he didn't know that I had anything to do with Suge Knight, and if anything happened, he would have to kill me." It is an allegation that paints Combs as someone who is ready to take a life. But as Capricorn Clark's testimony continued, she brought up another rival of Sean Diddy Combs and another allegation that he made an ominous threat of violence. Clark testified, when working for Diddy, they went to a press event at MTV and 50 Cent was there. And just wait until you hear what she says Diddy told 50's manager. 50 Cent's real name, Curtis Jackson. He rose to fame in the early 2000s. You might remember songs like In the Club. You might remember that he was the leader of the rap group G-Unit. Now, 50 grew up in Jamaica, Queens, New York. Diddy, also a New York native. He was born in Harlem, grew up in Mount Vernon, New York, just about 20 miles away. And even though they both had success in music, they both rose to fame representing the city of New York and the rap scene there, they have been longtime rivals. In 2006, 50 Cent released a diss track about Diddy. So almost 20 years ago, this goes back a long way. And in that diss track, he says, quote, "Who shot Biggie Smalls? We don't get them. They gon' kill us all. Man, puppy, know who hit that expletive? Man, that expletive soft." Now, 50 is accusing Combs there of knowing who killed his friend, the notorious B.I.G. Christopher Wallace. Wallace and Puffy were incredibly close, but Wallace was shot and killed in a drive-by shooting in Los Angeles in 1997, and no one has ever been charged for pulling the trigger. This all happened during the height of the East Coast West Coast rap rivalry of the 90s, which involved Suge Knight, who we mentioned earlier. 50 Cent has also accused Diddy of orchestrating the murder of death row rapper Tupac Shakur, who died in 1996 in a Las Vegas drive-by shooting. This is Dwayne Keefe D. Davis. He was arrested in September 2023, and he is the only person facing charges related to Tupac's murder. But 50 Cent has continued to push the allegation that Sean Combs either knows something or did something for Tupac to end up dead, though Diddy has denied that. But in a 2023 Instagram post, 50 wrote, "Damn, so Pac got lined by brother love, LOL, time to lawyer up, expletive, might get sticky," with a pic of Suge Knight in a car with two.
He doesn't deal in half-truths. He brings the full weight of what he knows. And today, that weight was aimed directly at the man he's been waiting years to expose, Diddy. From the first word, the energy in the courtroom shifted. This wasn't a witness, it was a reckoning. 50 Cent scanned the room, locked eyes with the jury, and said he had seen everything. The world thought it understood power, but not the kind Diddy wielded. Because Diddy didn't build his empire on talent, he built it on fear. 50 said he watched it all unfold up close. He once admired Diddy for his swagger, success, and dominance. But that admiration eventually turned into suspicion, then horror. What looked like ambition was actually something far darker: manipulation, coercion, and psychological warfare. He described Diddy's rise through the industry not just as a producer of hits, but as a master puppeteer, pulling strings behind the scenes. According to 50, the artists in Diddy's circle weren't just collaborators, they were trapped, bound by endless contracts, buried secrets, and unspoken favors. And those infamous parties, they were never about celebration, they were about control.
Diddy, who has a lot of names, Puff Daddy, Puffy, Puff, and Brother Love is one of those other names. Now, from Diddy's side of things, again, he's denied having anything to do with Tupac's murder, and he's also denied having anything to do with Christopher Wallace's death, and he's denied publicly having issues with 50 Cent. Here's what Combs said when he was asked about a beef with 50 in a 2018 interview with the radio show The Breakfast Club, Power 105.1 FM.
Hey, yo, I don't have no beef with I don't know why. With Fifth. He loves me. He loves me.
Do y'all
Y'all
really
can't
have a
see
beef?
it? I mean, y'all can't see it.
No, we can't.
Y'all can't see that he loves me?
But see,
You really, hold on, you really think that's hate?
If you look at 50's social media, you can see he has a lot of posts about Diddy. And this is what he posted the day that federal agents in Miami raided Combs' mansion ahead of his arrest on the charges that he's now on trial for. 50 Cent posted on X, "Now it's not Diddy do it, it's Diddy done. They don't come like that unless they got a case." 50 Cent also included a link to his G-Unit clothing brand in that post. While Diddy in the Breakfast Club clip said that 50 Cent actually loves him and there was never a beef, on the stand this week, Capricorn Clark said otherwise. Clark said that she was at this press event at MTV with Diddy and 50 Cent was also there, all of this happening in New York. Clark said, quote, "After the interview wrapped up, myself, Puff, and Chris Lighty got in the elevator." Clark said that Lighty was an entertainment manager who, on paper, was managing Diddy at the time, but was also 50 Cent's manager at the time. Prosecutors asked Clark what happened in the elevator, and she said, quote, "Puff told Chris, because they were having some sort of issue, like, I really don't like all the back and forth. I don't do that. I like guns." The prosecutor then asked, "What's the issue with an individual?" And Clark responded, he had an issue with 50 Cent. She said Combs was very serious when he said that. In this case, it has become common to hear testimony from witnesses about alleged threats by Diddy. In fact, several witnesses have said that Diddy regularly threatened to fire people, to beat people, like his former girlfriend Cassie Ventura, and in this case, making a threat involving firearms to settle a dispute per the testimony of someone who was one of his closest associates for more than a decade. Invoking gun violence and some sort of veiled threat, that could be scary for some, but apparently not 50 Cent. On Instagram, 50 posted right after his name came up in the courtroom, quote, cut, wait a minute. Puffy's got a gun? I can't believe this. I don't feel safe," with a picture that looked like an AI image of 50 Cent on a movie set looking serious. And he wasn't done. Shortly after that, he posted another AI image on Instagram of him in a Yankees hat with a very scared look on his face with the caption, "Oh my goodness, itty bitty Diddy wants me dead. I have to lay low." Sad face emoji. "I think I'm gonna hide out at the playoff game tonight, LOL. Then the next day he posted what he did that night. He went to the NBA playoff game between the New York Knicks and the Indiana Pacers in Indiana. And you can see him here in a picture on the floor in a shirt that reads, quote, "Free Diddy," playing into the trolling that 50 Cent has done to Sean Combs over the years, even before Combs was ever accused of what he is on trial for. Now, Combs' trial is expected to last another month at least. He's charged with racketeering, sex trafficking by force, and
They weren't parties, they were surveillance. Diddy didn't celebrate. He observed, analyzed, and archived everything he saw, using it as leverage later. In court, 50 Cent revealed the existence of a Volta secret collection, long whispered, about containing hidden footage, private recordings, confessions, and conversations people thought were behind closed doors. This, he said, was the real foundation of Diddy's power. Not music, not business, but control through manipulation. Diddy didn't need contracts to own people, just one mistake at a party, one careless moment, and you were his. 50 described how he watched artists fade, not physically, but spiritually. Fury creatives turned into silent, obedient shells after backroom meetings that killed their spirit. Diddy presented himself as a mentor, a brother, but behind the mask was a machine built on secrets. 50 spoke about the infamous freak-off parties mocked online, but in reality, they were sinister rituals and tests, recorded, cataloged, and weaponized. Anyone who tried to leave was punished. smear campaigns, leaked footage, sudden lawsuits, vanishing careers. He told the jury Diddy didn't just guard his image, he destroyed others' lives to protect it. He shared the story of one artist with immense talent who dared to speak out after a traumatic night. Within months, she was blacklisted, her music scrubbed, her reputation ruined. 50 said she wasn't unstable, she was silenced. Then came the most chilling claim. Diddy's reach extended far beyond the music world. He allegedly collected dirt on executives, police officers, and politicians. Files he used like currency to buy silence or obedience. This wasn't just a mogul, it was a man who had built an empire on fear, secrets, and control.
She and her then-husband Kanye West, Naomi Campbell, and several others who were all together to celebrate Diddy's 50th birthday in 2019. Fast forward to 2024, 50 was asked why there have been so many silent voices when it comes to celebs speaking out about Diddy, as if they're afraid to speak up. 50 replied in part, some of them were involved at the parties and enjoyed themselves, so they don't know what the F is on the tape or what's not on the tape, so they're not going to say anything because they might have had too much fun. And then you got other people who look at it and go, well, that's not my business and I don't want to be in it. Then you got a part of our culture that says that's snitching or dry snitching. It's uncomfortable for me to say what I said because I've been saying this stuff for 4 or 5 years. Everybody else is not going to be as comfortable as I'm saying it. 50 Cent then alleged there's one famous friend that is aware of Diddy's alleged disturbing behavior. R&B legend Mary J. Blige, who got her start at Diddy's Bad Boy Records, has been a longtime friend of the embattled rapper and producer. But she reportedly has a great relationship with 50 Cent as well. When asked if Mary J. Blige reached out to 50, he responded, no, you know what? Mary never reached out to tell me not to F up Puffy because she knows he does that stuff. As Diddy and 50 Cent have long been in the rap game, they share another commonality, and that's 50 Cent's ex-girlfriend and the mother of his youngest son, Daphne Joy Navarez. The actress and OnlyFans model was named in Rodney Jones' suit against Diddy as she was referenced to as an alleged sex worker of Diddy's that also gets paid a monthly stipend. She has denied those allegations in a post made to social media, writing, I am deeply hurt by the lies in Rodney Jones' lawsuit. The claim that I'm a sex worker is 100% false and character assassination. I am retaining an attorney to explore all legal remedies against both Rodney and his attorney. 50 Cent seemingly poked fun at the allegation of the mother of his son being an alleged sex worker. In a post made to his social media page, 50 wrote a caption, I didn't know you was a sex worker, you little sex worker, LOL. But this would prompt Daphne Joy to respond to her ex again on social media, but this time would accuse 50 directly of rape and being abusive during their relationship. She would write in part, everything is a joke to you until our safety is compromised, which is happening now. You are wreaking real havoc, frenzy, and chaos onto people's lives. How would you feel if Sire was the one in handcuffs? For nothing. Let's put the real focus on your true evil actions of raping me and physically abusing me. You are no longer my oppressor, and my God will handle you from this point on. You have permanently damaged the last hope I had for you as a father to preserve our family with these last and final false claims made against me. You have broken our hearts for the last and final time. Those allegations against 50 Cent would prompt him to fire back against his ex Daphne Joy and sue her for defamation. In his suit, 50 Cent said those allegations were unequivocally false and would claim she made the shocking allegations in retaliation after he moved to take Sulks.
He was a collector, everyone had a price or a pressure point. Standing in that courtroom, 50 Cent locked eyes with Diddy and said, you thought you were untouchable because you knew where all the bodies were buried. But what happens when they all start crawling out? The room fell dead silent. Then he kept going. He described how Diddy used charity as a smokescreen, lavish, gallus, huge donations, glossy foundations, all distractions. Behind the scenes, the same private jets that flew in celebrities for red carpet events were allegedly used to transport victims, unsuspecting guests, and others who had no idea what they were walking into. He recounted a specific event where hidden cameras had been placed in dressing rooms under the pretense of fittings for performers' footage not used for safety, but stored as leverage. Then came Diddy's inner circle, not assistants, not staff, but enforcers. People who weren't there to help, but to control, intimidate, and maintain silence. If someone stepped out of line, they were handled. 50 admitted he had stayed quiet for too long, not out of fear, but strategy. He knew how Diddy operated, knew the risk of speaking out first, so he waited. And now, the moment was right. He presented messages, emails, transcripts, receipts, and finally, a voice memo from someone still inside Diddy's world, whispering, we're all prisoners. Some of us just get better rooms. The judge sat frozen. The jury looked shaken. Diddy didn't move, but his eyes revealed something he hadn't shown before: fear. 50 straightened his suit, looked around the courtroom one last time, and ended with the truth. The empire wasn't built on music.
It is damaging. It is damaging just to have anything said about you at this point, because you have people out there who don't believe your intentions, and if things are going in a positive direction for you and something pops, they gasp. He went on to say for entertainment purposes, they exploit that as much as possible, but there's no merit to it. But one thing 50 wasn't asked was if he believed Diddy would be formally charged and or potentially indicted for the many allegations he still faces. But attorney Ben Chu, who represented Johnny Depp during his trial against Amber Heard, says he does see an indictment coming down in Diddy's future.
I agree with that. I mean, obviously, I don't have any inside information. I don't think many people do, but I do think signs are ominous. These are very grave matters. As you know, there have been 2 raids on his properties, and that's obviously very ominous signs for him. Although, interestingly, we haven't seen the indictments yet. There's been some time lag. I suppose it will take some time to go through all the forensic, evidence. Still, these are very serious matters. So, I think he faces some serious reprimand.
Diddy faces a staggering number of civil lawsuits for sexual misconduct, 10 that have been filed since last November. Former adult film star Adria English filed her suit on July 3rd of this year, claiming she was first employed by Combs in 2004 and was groomed into sex trafficking over time. In May of this year, April Lamprose filed her lawsuit against Combs, accusing him of battery and sexual assault. 2 days prior to Lamprose's suit being filed, Crystal McKinney also filed a suit against Diddy. McKinney alleges she met Combs at a studio where he gave her a lace joint, alcohol, then forced her to the bathroom and forced her to perform oral sex on him.
It was built on misery, and today, we tear it down brick by brick. When 50 Cent walked off the stand, the silence he left behind was louder than anything said all trial. The walls were cracking, secrets spilling, and the illusion of power Diddy once wielded was slipping fast. But 50 wasn't finished. He returned the next morning carrying hundreds of pages documents filled with names, amounts, receipts, contracts, not standard deals, but traps. Clauses buried in legalese that handed Diddy ownership not just over music, but over people's voices, their silence, their lives. He placed them in front of the judge and said, "This is what it looks like when power becomes poison." He pulled back the curtain on a machine of fear disguised as a record label. Diddy built departments not for promotion, but for suppression, 50 said. Entire teams existed to bury stories, scrub footage, monitor threats. He named executives still employed at major labels, people who spent years shielding the myth while feeding the monster. One contract, line 73. Read, any material, visual, or audio captured during private engagements shall be considered property of the executive. The artist who signed it, she was 16. Then came the audio. Diddy's voice, cold, calculated, *, control, is better than loyalty, loyalty fades. Control is forever. The courtroom shuddered. 50 laid out payments funneled through shell companies, offshore accounts, fake production budgets, all to buy silence and bury guilt. He revealed the so-called initiation, the invite, the handlers, the hotel, the drink, the camera, the moment. Then the message, *, now you're in. Welcome to the family. *, the vault of tapes, wasn't for protection, it was leverage. Insurance, he said. Diddy didn't just hoard them, he shared them, behind closed doors, as warnings. 50's voice never cracked, but what he said cut deeper than any shout could be. Spoke not of bodies and graves, but of ruined dreams, shattered reputations, minds broken in silence. You don't need a graveyard when your hands are clean, but your name makes others bleed, he said. He stared at the defense. Spin this, try, but the world isn't blind anymore. And for the first time, even Diddy's legal team looked shaken as 50 stepped down. The weight of decades trailed behind him. This wasn't testimony, it was demolition. And in the rubble sat Diddy, not defiant, not composed, just drowning in the collapse of the empire he built on silence.